Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. You guys already know what we're doing. I actually did this video in the beginning of the year. Basically, I had moved to a new apartment in January of this year, did a whole video on setting up my at-home library. It was a super fun and exciting video. If you guys want to check it out, definitely go do that. It was my first time though having my own space to kind of hold all of my books. It was a very special video to make. Anyways, fast forward to now. We are in the month of July. Obviously, we are doing another building my dream library video because if you didn't hear the news, I actually just moved again, except it was a bigger move. I moved like across the country. I went from living in Buffalo, New York to Colorado. Big change. We're doing another building my dream at home library video. The first video I made back in January was obviously very special to me because again, it was my first time ever having a space to kind of put all of my books. But this video and being here specifically is literally so magical because I actually built my dream at-home library, but also my at-home office. I didn't take any of my bookshelves or desk or anything with me from New York. It just didn't make sense financially to pay to have it moved here. So when we got here to our new home, I basically was starting off completely fresh. I didn't have any furniture. I didn't have any bookshelves to put all my books on. You guys will see in a few minutes me putting together the bookshelves, setting up the whole area, and it's just really exciting because in the beginning of the year when I was setting up my home library, it was really cool, don't get me wrong, but this is like literally my dream at-home library. These are my dream bookshelves. I've always wanted super big and tall bookshelves. I've always wanted a little corner nook to hold my books. I also put really fun wallpaper up. I have my dream desk, my dream chair. Everything about this room is just so me and I am so very excited to share it with you guys. We're gonna go back in time to when we first got here. I'm going to show you guys this space completely empty, which is so crazy because it looks so different now being all filled up and decorated. But you guys are going to see the space completely empty. You're going to see me putting together the bookshelves, organizing the books, all that good stuff. I don't believe I showed me building my desk, mainly because it took me a little bit and I didn't want to bore you guys too much. I wanted to keep the video more focused on the books and the bookshelf building, but after all of that, we're going to come back to present time and I'm going to give you guys my full library tour. I'm going to be showing you guys every single book that I own, showing you my desk setup, telling you where I got things from, how I decorated. It was a super fun time putting everything together and decorating. So I'm going to stop rambling though. Without further ado, let's hop in to the video.
So
I can barely reach there.
Did you buy the accessories?
No, it came with it. Like it was like, I think it was extra.
I mean, we'll go like up to like here.
Okay, we're building the Billy. Honestly, this doesn't look that hard. Okay. The Billy. Silly Billy. What is that from? Name that movie. Chris? Come on. Silly Billy.
You saying in weird voices is not happening.
Okay guys, so we finished setting up the bookshelves. I built all of these over the course of like 2 days. There's 7 in total. And then Chris today went in and like mounted them to the walls just to prevent them from tipping over. And yeah, now they're all done and we can finally start putting books on them and decorating them. I have no plan, zero idea how I'm going to execute setting up my bookshelves, to be honest. Figured we would just start unpacking the boxes and kind of go from there. Like I said, I got 7 bookshelves in total and they're the Billy bookshelves, I believe, from IKEA. And then I also got like the extenders, so they're extremely tall. They look great. I love them and I'm super excited to use them and make them into like showcases. I'll probably turn the top shelves into like little showcases of like my special edition books, stuff like that. And yeah, that's the plan for the rest of the night. We're gonna go out and grab some food really quick, take like a little foodie break, and then when we come back, I'm gonna start unpacking the books, setting up the bookshelves. Welcome back. We are now gonna jump into the exciting part of this video, the part that you guys have probably been waiting for. I'm going to be giving you guys a full in-depth tour of my bookshelves, of my little at-home library, my office in general. I did a lot of stuff. I'm just like really happy with how it turned out. I do have a few extra things coming in that I'm gonna be adding here and there. You guys will see those updates though in like future vlogs, but we are gonna hop right in to the bookshelf tour. In total, I have 7 bookshelves, which is absolutely insane. I just knew I wanted the bookshelves to cover like the entire wall here. So my 7th bookshelf on the very end is pretty empty. It doesn't have a lot on it. Over time, I'm sure I'll be able to add to it. We'll be adding cute little decorations, knickknacks, stuff like that. All the bookshelves are from IKEA though. They're the Billy bookshelves, and then I also got the extenders with them. So they are very, very tall bookshelves. My old bookshelves were pretty short ones, ones, so I was able to fill all of them up, but because these are so much wider and taller, I wasn't able to fill all 7 bookshelves. But nonetheless, I'm super happy with how everything kind of turned out. I've always wanted these types of bookshelves. I've always wanted super tall ones. I've seen so many people take these exact bookshelves and actually build them into their walls, add ladders to them, stuff like that. So I feel like these were a really good investment because they're bookshelves that I will take to our new home. Billy bookshelves from IKEA with the extenders. I have 3 of their cube bookshelves, which are just like the smaller cube ones. I love the look of these. These are definitely the shelves that I kind of went in and decorated and made like my pretty shelves and displayed like my pretty additions on. Absolutely love the look of them. I have 4 of the wider bookshelves in total, and the one again at the end is just empty for now. When I was building these and decorating them, I realized that I'm definitely gonna need a little step stool when I want to reach everything on the top shelf. We're gonna start with the bookshelves, of course, and we're gonna go shelf by shelf, and I'm gonna show you guys all the books that I own, kind of explain my thought process for decorating and organizing the books and how I did it. As you guys can see, I also decorated like the very tops of my shelves, put little knickknacks and decorations up there that I absolutely love. There's a lot of stuffed animals up there, and I'll kind of get into more detail as we go. But we are gonna start with shelf number 1. I can't even like reach the very top, so we're gonna make it work. On the very top of the bookshelf is this cute custom dated book that Chris's mom actually got me for Christmas. It has our wedding date folded into the pages. It is one of the coolest gifts I think I have ever received. It is so cute and so special. So that's the very top of the bookshelf, and then diving right into it, first shelf is holding one of my all-time favorite series, the Shatter Me series by Tara Maffei. Love this series, guys. It is so amazing. If you've never read it before, I could not recommend it enough. It's such a fun dystopian YA action-packed series. I always say if you were into like the dystopian movies back in like 2010 to 2014, Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner, stuff like that, you will devour the Shatter Me series because it gives off the same exact vibes, and there's also a super fun love triangle in there. It's absolutely amazing. But anyways, we have the Shatter Me series. Then I have 2 bookmarks, one of Juliet and one of Aaron Warner. I got these from a friend who got them in a fairy loot box, so I was super excited when she gave them to me because Shatter Me is literally one of my favorite series ever. Moving on to a shelf that I can actually reach, we have my Rebecca Yarrow shelf. It's holding Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I'm so excited for the 3rd book to come out. This is definitely a very hyped up fantasy series. It's all over BookTok, it's all over BookTube, Bookstagram, everywhere. Everyone's raving about it. I think it's a very fun and exciting fantasy. And then I have this cutie owl crate pin that goes up there with it. It's definitely one of the coolest pins I think I've ever gotten from Owl Crate. So this is what the front looks like, and then it actually opens up just like a book. Love the dragon details on the front too. It's just so beautifully done. Next up, we're getting into a romance section. It is my Lauren Asher shelf. Geez, I'm such a big fan of Lauren Asher. Lauren Asher is probably one of my favorite authors. I think she is an incredible romance writer, and she has written some of my favorite romances, some of my favorite couples. She's also like amazing when it comes to writing like billionaire tropes. First up, we have the Dirty Air series. These are really fun books. They're all standalone romances, but they're interconnected, and each book is about an F1 driver finding love. Before reading that series, I had no idea what F1 was. I wasn't super into it, and then after reading the series, I really got into it. I think it was super fun for me because it was so different from other romances I have read. The whole series revolves around F1 drivers. You're traveling around the world, watching them race, and just fall in love, which is so fun in my opinion. Right next to it, I have book 1 again, which is Throttled. This is actually a new edition that Bloom is rolling out. Love everything about it. I love that this is like foiled on the front. Next up, we have the Dreamland Billionaire series. We have the fine print, terms and conditions, and final offer. These books were so much fun to read about. I always say if you are a big Disney fan, if you love going to Disney World, these books are basically like a play off of Disney Disney, and they are so much fun, especially book one. Book one mainly revolves around the theme park and takes place in the theme park. It's so much fun, guys, and I love Disney, so I obviously loved that book so much. The whole series revolves around the Kane brothers. Their grandfather basically founded Dreamland, which is technically Disney in the series, and when he passes away and they're reading his will, there's stipulations for each grandson, and they have to complete these tasks that their grandfather left them with in order to receive their inheritance. So each book is about each grandson completing the tasks that their grandfather left behind for them. I loved every book. I feel like book 3 is definitely the craziest, more of an emotional roller coaster, but what's really cool about book 3 is it kind of leads us in to her next series, which is the Lakefront Billionaire series. We have Love Redesigned and Love Unwritten, which literally just came out like a month ago, I think. These books revolve around the Lakefront Billionaires, and they are the prettiest covers in my opinion. I think the details are so cute. Once you read the books too, the details of the covers are just so beautiful and so perfect. Moving on to our next shelf. This is my Addicted shelf, my Krista and Becca Ritchie shelf. I have slowly but surely been making my way through the Addicted series. As you can see, it's a very hefty series. We have Addicted to You, Ricochet, Addicted for Now, Kiss the Sky, Hot House Flower, Thrive, Addicted After All, Fuel the Fire, Long Way Down, and Some Kind of Perfect. Right next to it, I just have this little sculpture dude. I've had him for a while now, and I think he is so cool. He's actually like a pen holder, which I really like, but I just put this little rose in there that Chris actually got me back in 2018. So this is a very old gift, but it's so beautiful. Next up, we have two of my all-time favorite Emily Henry books on display. Emily Henry is such a popular author. I feel like everybody and their mother loves Emily Henry. It took me a while to get into her and her writing style. It just wasn't always my favorite, but these two books definitely changed my mind about her and made me fall in love with her writing. So we have Happy Place and Funny Story, and then right below them we have my little mini coho shelf. When I read them at the time, they were some of my favorite books of all time. So we have It Ends With Us, It Starts With Us, Hopeless, and Losing Hope. I always say these are the most underrated books by her. Like, they deserve so much more hype because the stories are absolutely beautiful and crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, Colleen Hoover writes the craziest stories I think I've ever read in my life. We have Ugly Love, November 9th, Regretting You, All Your Perfects, Reminders of Him, and Confess. This is another super underrated book. I think this one is so good. And then right next to it, I have this Mythology Book Nook candle. My sister actually recommended this brand to me. She said she absolutely loved them, so I ordered a few candles. They smell amazing, and I'm pretty sure they're made with all natural ingredients. On the very bottom shelf, we have two more coho books. We have It Ends With Us and Verity. These are both like special collector's editions, and the Verity one is super special because there's actually like a bonus chapter at the end. It kind of settles the debate on what everyone was wondering, if you were team letter or manuscript. I'm still not over that book. Moving on to bookshelf number 2, our first big wide bookshelf. It's holding so many popular and amazing books on here that I'm sure so many of you can already pick out some of your favorite books. But right on the very top of the shelf that I can't reach, we have 3 Funko Pops from the movie Bambi. We have Thumper, Bambi, and Flower, and then in between them I have a Thumper and Bambi stuffed animal, which is actually from Disney. They're part of the Munchlings line, and they like actually smell like sweets, and I love it so much. I have those on the very top of the shelf. I think they look so cute. And then starting with shelf number 1, we have the first 3 books in the Harry Potter series. These are part of like special edition illustrated pop-up books. They are so stunning. I'm still patiently waiting on the 4th book to come out. And then right next to it, of course, we have the full set of Harry Potter, and then all around the Harry Potter books I have a ton of mini Harry Potter Funko Pops that are absolutely adorable. I love collecting them, especially because there's like a mystery in each box. That's my cutie little Harry Potter corner, and then directly next to it is the Shadow and Bone series. These are special editions from Owl Crate. They did such a beautiful job with these special editions. This is the first book in the series, and then the edges are just so cool in my opinion. Inside foiling, the hardcover, the reverse dust jacket. Owlcrate did such an amazing job on like every book. And then directly next to that series, we have Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. This is part of the same universe. I'm also very excited because Owlcrate is doing special editions of those books as well to match the Shadow and Bone series. And then right next to those books, we have Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I decided to put Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows there because once we jump in to this corner shelf, we have the Owlcrate special editions of the two books, and then when we get into the next shelf, there's actually the Fairy Loot special edition. So I thought it'd be really cool to kind of keep them going. Moving on to the next shelf, this is my Sarah J. Maas shelf, my big fantasy shelf. Starting off, we have the Throne of Glass series. Such a big series that I still am very intimidated to start, even though everyone tells me it's like the best series ever. Because it's such a long series, I am so scared to start it. A little nervous, but I know I'm gonna get to it eventually because right next to it we have the ACOTAR series, easily one of the best fantasy series I've ever read. We have A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames. And then right above it I have this cutie little mushroom candle. It's not gonna make sense, but it smells like a fantasy world. And then right next to ACOTAR I have these very pretty editions of the first two books in Crescent City. This is House of Earth and Blood, and then this is House of Sky and Breath, another beautiful edition. Right next to it I have this little canister. Is this from Owlcrate or Fairy Loot? I can't remember. It's from one of the two, but it's like this little canister thing. It's actually inspired by the Cruel Prince series, but I decided to put it with the Sarah J. Maas books. I feel like all of these little graphics correlate with ACOTAR too, and I think it just looks really cute there. Our next shelf is my small town cowboy loving shelf. It's mostly Elsie Silver, but we have some Lucy Score, some Lila Sage. Starting right here, we have the Chestnut Spring series, one of my favorite series ever, to be completely honest. We have Flawless, Heartless, Powerless, Reckless, and Hopeless. These are the Bloom special editions. Then we have the Mirror editions, which I absolutely adore. These are definitely my favorite editions. I just think they are so cool. This is the Bloom edition of Flawless. Again, absolutely beautiful. But I think the Mirror editions just really showcase like that cowboy small town aesthetic, and I think it's just so beautiful. Right above them, I keep this cutie little heart candle. We have book one in the Rose Hill series, which is Wild Love. This is actually an ARC I received, which was so cool. And then of course I went out and bought an edition. Then we have the first two books in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. This is a series that I recently discovered a few months ago and fell so in love with. The small town vibes, the cowboy vibes are so good. Like, I've been itching for a good cowboy romance since the Chestnut Spring series, and Lila Sage gave it to me. So we have Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled. These are also really beautiful books in my opinion. I just love this art style. It's kind of like a comic type of style, and I think it's really cool. We have the Knock 'Em Out series, Things We Never Got Over, Things We Hide from the Light, and Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. These are just more really great small town romances. And then right above it I have this like little flower pot. It doesn't have flowers in it, and it's actually based off a fantasy book, but I feel like it matches really nicely with the books and gives off like those pretty pink vibes. Now we're diving into my hockey shelf, which I didn't plan on having a hockey shelf, but then when I was organizing my books I realized how many hockey romances I have, which I swear was not planned. It just kind of happened. Here we are. We have a whole hockey shelf. Obviously right from the beginning, it's mostly Elle Kennedy. We have her off-campus series, then we have the Graham Effect, the Dixon Rule, and then we get into her Briar U series. Mostly all hockey romances and hockey related. Right on the top of the books, I have a hockey card of Chris, and then I have another picture that's of Chris and I when he was playing hockey. And then this is actually really cute from one of his goals. Right here is this very old retro Eevee keychain. If you guys didn't know, I love Eevee. She's my favorite Pokemon, but this was actually a little anniversary gift from Chris because he knows that I love Eevee so much, and he found this on eBay literally from 1999, I think. It's super old, but I love it so much. It's so cool. Moving on, we have Icebreaker and Wildfire by Hannah Grace. These are just the normal Atria editions, and then right next to it we have the Probably Smut special editions. These are some of my favorite special edition books. I think they are absolutely stunning. After that, we have Behind the Net and The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. We have those books. Then we have Unsteady by Peyton Corin. And then at the end here is Icebound by Meredith Trapp. This is another Probably Smut special edition that I am obsessed with. I think it is so beautiful. I love this whole cover. I think I rated it like 3.5 stars, maybe 3 stars. It's a cute hockey romance. It's just definitely not one of my favorites. Our last 3 shelves here are all of my romance books that I had to put somewhere. Going into it, I basically organized them by book height because I literally can't stand it when my books are different heights on the shelf. So that's kind of how I went through and organized all of these. Starting right here, we have the Eden series by Devaney Perry. Then we have Crossroads by Devaney Perry. This is part of the Haven River Ranch series, and this is actually a special edition from Probably Smut. It's one of the first hardcover editions I've received from them, and I think it's very pretty. Then we have The Coach and the Birthday List, also by Devaney Perry. We have Rewrite Our Story and Tempt Our Fate. These are by Kat Singleton. I really want to read these. I feel like reading small town romances in the summertime. It's just, the vibes are immaculate. We have Alternate Endings and Recipes for Second Chances. These are by Allie Rosin. This is the Langston Brothers duet by Elizabeth O'Rourke. 2 books in one. I believe this is from Eternal Embers, if I'm remembering correctly. This is another really beautiful edition. Then we have the Beyond the Play series, First Down, Breakaway, and Stealing Home. This is a football romance, hockey romance, and baseball romance, which I think is really cool. I hear incredible things about those books as well. We have The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. This book has been on my shelf for the longest time. It's so chunky, so I've kind of been putting it off, but that's another very hyped up football romance that everybody raves about. Betting on You by Lynn Painter. Anna and the French Kiss. This is the 10-year collector's edition. Look how beautiful these edges are. It's actually a friends to lovers romance, which is super surprising because that wasn't my favorite trope for a while. Then we have Bite Me, Royce Taslim. Such a fun enemies to lovers. And then in the corner I have this cutie little custom Pokemon card from Chris. This was another anniversary gift. He actually had it like custom made. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the 2 little characters here are supposed to be Chris and I with our favorite Pokemon. Like I said, I was kind of organizing the books by height and size, so it worked out very nicely that these all for the most part are the same size, but they're also mainly summery and spring romances. So right in the corner here I have this little surfboard bookmark, and it's actually from Hawaii. My best friend went there and she brought this back for me. And then we have the Summer I Turned Pretty series. Then we get into some Christina Lauren books. We have The Unhoneymooners, Dating You, Hating You, and Love in Other Words. It is still one of my favorite covers to this day. I used to say that if I were a book cover, this would be me. Then right next to it, we get into some Emily Henry books. We have Beach Read, Book Lovers, and People We Meet on Vacation. I have beef with this book. If you know, you know. Every Summer After, Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, Love and Gelato. Then we have One Last Shot twice. One is an ARC, and then one is sent to me by the publisher, which was super cool. We have Beach Cute by Beth Rickles. I believe this is the same author from The Kissing Booth, which I thought was really cool. Wild About You. This is a really cool cover actually. I think it's really cute. All Roads Lead to Rome. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and then Part of Your World. You guys will see on the bottom shelf here the rest of her books. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, one of my favorite books ever. Tell Me Three Things by Julie Buxom, Call It What You Want, a novel love story, The Bodyguard, The Kiss Quotient, X's and O's, The Paris Daughter, 2 copies of Better Than the Movies because it is one of my favorite books ever, and Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I haven't read that yet, but it's gonna be so much fun for the fall time. I can already tell. We have my bottom shelf here. Again, a lot of like random stuff. Right in the beginning, we have A Girl Named Harper, As Seen on TV, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, The Third Baseman, Honeycut, which I'm really excited to read. I think this cover is also so pretty. The Art of Catching Feelings. This is a baseball romance and it sounds really cute. The Nanny, The Cheat Sheet, and The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. These are 2 books I've heard such great things about, as well as When in Rome, which is also by her. How to End a Love Story, Loving Romeo, Wild Love, Forbidden King, From Lukov with Love, Air for the Cake, In a Jam, It Happened One Summer, Hook, Line, and Sinker, To Hate Adam Connor, To Love Jason Thorne, Pride and Premeditation, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six. We have the first 3 books in the Bridgerton series, The Duke and I, The Viscount Who Loved Me, and An Offer from a Gentleman. And then at the very end, we have Playing Hard to Get by Monica Murphy. It's a lot of books. We're making progress though. We are now on to our little middle corner shelf. I love this shelf. Right at the top, you guys can see there's a fake plant, obviously, because if it was real, I don't know how the heck I would reach it. Right at the top, maybe some of the prettiest books I own. We have Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. These are the Owl Crate special editions and they're absolutely stunning in my opinion. I think these editions are, again, some of Owl Crate's prettiest editions. The next shelf is my Fairy Loot special editions of Once Upon a Broken Heart. You guys are going to see this series a few times in this video. It's easily one of my favorite series I've ever read. It is so much fun and the romance in it is absolutely beautiful. The adventure and action. It's everything I love when it comes to fantasy. So these are the Fairy Loot special editions. They have gorgeous sprayed edges. The inside art is just unmatched in my opinion. Ballad of Never After is probably my favorite out of all of them, and the artwork is just so beautiful. Right here is a cutie little pin from Owl Crate. This is the Ballad of the Archer and the Fox, and then right next to it, this itty bitty jar that says Make a Wish. So cute. I feel like it just matches the vibes up here. Next up, we have my Afterlight special edition of Allie Hazelwood. She is another one of my favorite romance authors, mainly because she specializes in writing such like strong, independent, very intelligent female main characters. A lot of her books revolve around girls who are in STEM, and I'm very interested in that. I think it's really cool. These are my special editions though of The Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically, and Not in Love. The Love Hypothesis is still one of my favorite books to this day. It's a book I read a super long time ago, but it's still one of my favorite romances. Love on the Brain is just so pretty, mainly because it's pink, but also because our main character B actually has like lavender hair. Love Theoretically took me by storm. I did not know I was gonna love this book as much as I did. And then we have Not in Love. This is her newest romance. I haven't read it yet, but I'm very excited to jump into it. This middle shelf here actually just has like a really pretty decorative mirror. I was gonna put books there, but then when I was unpacking and I found this mirror, I was like, okay, I feel like it would actually make a really pretty like little middle piece here. I put that there. I have this little cross. These are positive affirmations for the bookish soul. Each day I wake up in my most positive reality. This one is bookish positivity. I do not need an excuse to buy another book. I deserve it. They're so cute. I kind of want to get like a frame. For now, I just keep them in their little pouch. Moving on to the next shelf, we have Miss Magnolia Parks, which I am honestly so happy with the way it turned out because I was able to find like little bees to decorate the shelf with. But we have Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, Daisy Hates The Great Undo, doing. And then into the dark. Right on top here, these are more just like positive little things. I always have it on this one. It says, I feel grateful. Right next to it, I also have the book Never, which is a Peter Pan reimagining or maybe a retelling. I can't remember. This cover is absolutely beautiful and I love fairy tale reimaginings and retellings, so I picked it up to try it out. I have these cutie little bees, and then these are the UK editions of Magnolia Parks, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I honestly prefer them over the US versions. Right here we have my Cruel print shelf. Ended up being a really fun and cool read for me, and I'm super excited to move on in the series. We have the Cruel Prince, the Queen of Nothing, the Wicked King, and the King of Eltham. And then back here is the Barnes special edition of the Cruel Prince. This is a Cruel Prince special edition mug from Owl Crate. And then right here is actually my mini bookshelf of books. If you didn't know, Mini Brands has like a bookish collection and you can collect mini books. Right at the bottom here we have Belladonna and Foxglove by Adeline Gray's third book, Wisteria, comes out soon, and I am so excited for the conclusion of this series. I feel like it's gonna be my favorite book out of the series. Right here with the books I have another Owl Crate pin. This is actually one that like slides in and out, which I thought was really cool. Then I have these spoons that I actually got from Owl Crate, and these spoons are the main reason why I picked up these books. The first spoon says, hello little bird, and then the second spoon says, come to stab me again. Definitely one of the best series I've picked up this year and read, and I cannot wait for Wisteria to come out. Last but not least, I just have like this little feather pen with ink. I've never used it, but I feel like it's very pretty for decoration. We are making progress. At the very top, you guys can't really see, but I just have a cherry stuffed animal up there. I have a Valentine's Day card from Chris, and then I have a really pretty Van Gogh Starry Night candle that I don't use, but I like to have it on display because I love Van Gogh. So starting at the very top of the shelf, these are special edition books from Owl Crate and Fairy Loot, and I kind of just put them all up there. The first few books you guys can see are actually facing the opposite way, so you can see the edges of them because they are some of the most beautiful printed and sprayed edges that I literally own. I am obsessed. The first two books in the pile is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. These are the Fairy Loot special editions, and I am obsessed with the edges of them. They're just so beautiful and magical looking, and the way they came out I think is just absolutely perfect. The honeycomb one is one of my favorites as well. That's for the book Honey Witch. Tempest of Tea one is also one of my favorites. I cannot wait to read that because I've heard really good things about it. And then directly next to that is The Crimson Moth. This book I am also so excited to try, The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller. I am so excited about this book. I just got it in the mail a few days ago and it is so stunning. I cannot wait to start it. The back of it is so like intriguing too because it says, my husband is taking too long to die. Next to that book, we have A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saff. I have the Fairy Loot edition and the Owl Crate edition. I love the Fairy Loot printed edges, but I love the Owl Crate design more. So I have both on display, but I have the Owl Crate one facing forward to actually look at the cover because it very much gives off like fairy tale vibes, and I love that about the book. Then we get into more special editions. I do have a few doubles of books, mainly because Fairy Loot and Owl Crate will do the same book for the same month sometimes, so that's why I have doubles. But we have Evocation, What the River Knows. Then we have The Warm Hands of Ghosts, which looks really cool. Starling House, The Longest Autumn, and The Unmaking of June Farrow, which I'm very excited to read that one in the fall. I feel like the vibes are gonna pair up really nicely. Directly under that shelf, we continue on my obsession with Stephanie Garber and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So right here we have the US special editions from Barnes & Noble. They're also like this really pretty shimmery color. Then next to those books we have the normal UK editions of the books, which you guys can probably tell they're very similar to Fairy Loot. Fairy Loot changed the coloring of them and obviously added like the interior artwork. A Curse for True Love is probably my favorite cover out of the entire series just because of details in it, but also like the greenery and blues blues. I think it's so beautiful. Then we have this little canister that I believe came with Owl Crate, I want to say, maybe Fairy Loop, but so stinking cute. On the front it says never fall in love with a fate, and then when you open it up it says little fox, which I think is so cute. Right next to that we have the Caraval trilogy, Caraval Legendary and Finale, and then in the corner here I have this cute like little reading person that has like text all over them. This was a gift from Chris's grandma. Then we jump in to my Anna Hong shelf. She is another one of my favorite romance authors. I love everything she writes. Very similar to Lauren Asher. I feel like she is so good at writing the billionaire trope. Her books are also pretty crazy and action-packed, which makes them very fun. She has a whole shelf dedicated to her because I have so many books by her. Starting right here, we have If Love books 1 through 3. These are newly released from Bloom. They come with like sprayed edges. Then we have King of Pride, King of Greed, and King of Sloth. These are the Barnes & Noble special editions. The Barnes special edition comes with foiling on it. The colors are slightly different. And then I do have like the normal edition. So we have King of Wrath, King of Pride, King of Greed, and King of Sloth again. Then I have an arc of King of Sloth, which was so cool to receive. Then we have Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. Moving on to the next shelf, this is my dark romance shelf, which I feel like was kind of fitting going under Anna Hong, just because I feel like her romances sometimes lean towards dark romance, just with the darker things that happen in them. But we have a pretty good variety of dark romance here. Starting off, we have The Sweetest Oblivion, The Maddest Obsession, and The Darkest Temptation by Danielle Laurie. Then we have The Bully by Sophie Lark. I just received this actually. It's a special edition that I thought was really cool. Then we have The Never After novels by Emily McIntyre. She is one of my favorite dark romance authors. The Never After novels are some of my favorite dark romances. We have Hooked, Scarred, Wretched, Twisted, and Crossed, and if you're not familiar with them, they're basically fairy tale reimaginings, and she pulls similar concepts from our favorite fairy tales, and it's really cool. Right on top I have this cute little wedding picture of Chris and I in a library. Then we jump in to my little Sophie Lark stack. She is another one of my favorite dark romance authors. She makes dark romance so fun. This is the Brutal Birthright series though. We have The Brutal Prince, Stolen Heir, Savage Lover, Bloody Heart, Broken Vow, and Heavy Crown. This is a newer book by her. It's called Minx. I got this one, I think, sent to me, which was really cool. Right on top here is one of my prized possessions. It is Van Gogh Eevee. If you're into Pokemon and into like the Pokemon world, you know how exciting and rare it is to have one of these. Then we have Pestilence, War, Famine, and Death. The series is by Laura Talassa, and it is part of the Four Horsemen series. Right on top I have a Villain Lover candle. Then right here we have Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. This is a pin set for enemies to lovers, which I thought was really cute and fits with dark romance because usually they're enemies to lovers. Next up we have a little bit of like a mystery thriller shelf. I don't read a lot of mystery thrillers, but when I do dip my toes in, I usually find some really fun ones. So starting off we have The Inheritance Games, which very popular book talk series. Most people have read it and loved it. Jennifer Lynn Barnes is definitely one of those authors that just sucks you in immediately. We have The Inheritance Games, which really quick, I'll show you guys. This is a special edition of it. Look how pretty those edges are. The Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit. Then we jump in to her spin-off series, which is The Brothers Hawthorne. Then we have a little bit of a Holly Jackson fan stack here. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead. Then we have Five Survive, The Reappearance of Rachel Price. This is actually a novella for Good Girl's Guide to Murder called Killjoy. Next we have The Society for Soulless Girls, The Silent Patient, Luckiest Girl Alive, which I actually watched the movie first on Netflix. Netflix, and it was so good. One of Us is Lying, One of Us is Next, We Were Liars, Family of Lies, The Perfect Marriage, The Fear, The Twin, and The Lake. Then moving down to our next shelf, this is like my book of the month collection, all of the books that I have ordered from them. So first up we have You Again, The Wishing Game, The Paradise Problem, Spells for Forgetting, Hello Stranger, The 5-Star Weekend, This Spells Love, Romantic Comedy, The Fury, The Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically, and Check and Mate, A Fate Inked in Blood, The Ministry of Time, Butcher and Blackbird, Happily Never After, The God of the Woods, which is actually set in New York, which is really cool, The Love of My Afterlife, and The Magician's Daughter. Big book of the month girly, if you guys can tell. And then right here on our bottom shelf, these are just more fantasy books that I didn't really know where to kind of go with them, so they all kind of fit nicely down here. First up we have A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, book 1, book 2, and book 3, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, The Daughter of a Pirate King as Old as Time, City of Bones, Not Your Ex's Hexes, Not the Witch You Wed, and Not Your Crush's Cauldron. These 3 books are by April Asher. They're gonna be such fun books to read during Halloween time. Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. I've heard nothing but really great things about those books. Go Hex Yourself, Born of Starlight, Half-Blood, Trial of the Sun Queen, and Rule of the Aurora King. A River Enchanted, A Fire Endless, Heir of the Broken Fate, and Heir of the Broken Kingdom. I cannot wait to read these 2 books. They sound so good. Wicked, How Does It Feel, Shade of Light, and The Veiled Kingdom, which book 2 to this is coming out very soon, and I'm super excited for it. This is really random, but I have this little Luke Skywalker card on top of the books, and it's like a special card because it has the Darth Vader pin in it, but I keep it over here because I feel like it's kind of spooky. It was getting a little bit too dark yesterday, so I decided to pause the video, pause the library tour, and pick it up again today when it's sunnier out and you guys can really see the bookshelves in all their glory. We are almost done with the bookshelf tour portion of this video. I only have these 2 left. The one on the very end is totally empty. There's not really much to show just yet, so we just have these 2 shelves left, and picking up right where we left off yesterday. I really love how it all came together and the way I'm showcasing some of my favorite books. Starting at the very top of the bookshelf. Don't know if you guys could see it too well, but I have a little Eevee Funko, and then I have an Eevee stuffed animal. Already talked so much about it, I feel like, in this video, and you guys have already seen so many little Eevee related things on my bookshelf. My very favorite Pokemon is Eevee, and then starting right at the very top, we have a cutie little picture of Chris and I at the Disney boardwalk. I want to say that was for our first wedding anniversary. On each side are more of those cutie little munchling stuffed animals that literally smell so good. If you guys have never gotten them before from Disney, highly recommend, because they smell amazing and it's really fun because it's a mystery which character you get in every pack. Moving on to our first book related shelf. You guys already know we have Powerless, Reckless, and Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I have 2 copies of Powerful, 2 copies of Powerless, and then 1 copy of Reckless. You guys know it's in my description, actually. Powerless by Lauren Roberts, easily one of my favorite books of all time, including Reckless, which is book 2. It just came out. Cannot wait for book 3 because she's driving me a little batty with the cliffhangers, not gonna lie. The Hunger Game vibes in it is just so cool in my opinion. We have Powerful, which is a powerless story. It's a little itty bitty novella talking about one of my favorite side characters, Adina. Then we have Reckless, book 2. So good, guys. If you haven't read the series yet, highly recommend. Reckless picks up immediately after Powerless though. The vibes are immaculate. The romance really blooms in that book in my opinion, and I feel like Lauren Roberts gives us as the readers like everything that we've kind of been waiting for, but the cliffhanger at the end is just crazy. And then I have this cutie little cake candle. It smells so good. It smells like strawberry shortcake, to be completely honest. Next up we have the Twisted series by Anna Hong shelf. These are my favorite Very Loot special editions of the books. Literally some of the prettiest books I owned. Just to show you guys them up close, these are the hardcovers. They did come with book sleeves, but I prefer the hardcovers more. They just kind of have like that classic look to them that I like. And then the edges of them are absolutely stunning. Very Loot did such a great job with these books. The only thing that I do wish is that there was inside artwork or foiling, but nonetheless, still very happy that I was able to get my hands on these. A lot of you may have actually found me through my Twisted review video. Kind of popped off a few months ago, and it's just a huge review video of me talking about the Twisted series, what I liked, what I disliked. Yeah, so a lot of you may have actually found me because of these books. So if you did, I'm so glad you're here. But right on top of the books, I have this gorgeous Jane Austen inspired candle. It says, "If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more." And this is another candle I have yet to burn because it is just absolutely stunning. It smells so good. It just makes me really happy. But this is actually a graduation gift from Chris's grandma. And then in the corner, I just keep this cutie little Polaroid of Chris and I. This is honestly one of my favorite pictures of us because I just think we look so happy in it. Moving to the next shelf, we have the Boys of Tommen series. Wow, this series really just took me by storm. I did not think I was gonna like it just because it is a very heavy type of series. It's a very emotional type of series, and if you've read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it quickly became one of my favorite series of all time. Chloe Walsh has a very beautiful, poetic type of writing style, and the way she writes about these very tragic events in her books, they're very realistic in my opinion, and I related to them on so many different levels. So one of my favorite series that I have read so far this year. We have Binding 13 and Keeping 13, which is all about Johnny Kavanagh and Shannon Lynch. We have Saving 6 and Redeeming 6. This is all about Joey, who is Shannon's older brother. Then we have Taming 7, and I also have an arc for Taming 7, which is to this day probably one of the coolest arcs I have ever received. And that is all about Gibbsy and Claire, which I know is like a fan favorite. And then in the corner, I just have another Polaroid of Chris and I. This is another one of my favorite pictures of us because we took this right before we moved, and it's actually on the same bridge that Chris asked me to be his girlfriend on. I think it's been 7 years, which is so crazy. Moving down to the next shelf, I have all of these gorgeous spines showing for a good reason. As you guys can probably tell, these are some of the prettiest special editions I own, and they're all by Afterlight. Right here is Check and Me by Ali Hazelwood. I love it so much, and the chess pieces are just so stunning. Right under it, I have another Ali Hazelwood book, and it's actually Bride by her. I thought this was such a cool edition. I feel like this is so fitting for the book and the aesthetic, but it's also just really detailed and cool. We have One Last Shot, another gorgeous book. This is giving off the ultimate summer vibe. This is a newer one I just got. It's Cross the Line. It's actually an F1 romance, and I think the edges are so much fun. And then I also love the inside artwork because it's like little Polaroids. Next up, we have Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey, a fun, cutie little golf romance. The Prospects by KT Hoffman. This is such a cool looking book, and it honestly sounds amazing. It's about two baseball players who fall in love. At First Spite by Olivia Dade. This is one of the first books I got, and I was immediately obsessed with it because of the cutie little strawberries. And then last but not least, we have The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. Another really cool and fun book. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm very excited about it because it's absolutely stunning. Moving on to the next shelf, these are all books by the brand Owl Crate, I believe. In the corner here, I have this really cool letter opener. I think I got this from Fairy Loot, to be honest, but I think it's so cool. First up, we have The Last Blood Carver by Vanessa Lay, and it's one of the prettiest editions I own, to be honest, because these edges are stunning, as you can see, but also just the artwork of the cover, the inside foiling and artwork. Next up, we have To Kill a Shadow, After the Forest, Bride, Heartless Hunter, A Study in Drowning, The Serpent in the Wings of Night, The Ashes in the Star-Cursed King, Your Blood, My Bones, and Song of the Six Realms. This one is a newer one I just got, and I thought the edges were cool. It's like this pretty rose gold shimmer, and also just the cover overall is really pretty. I love like the pink vibes it gives off. And then right on the bottom here, these are more fantasy books that I just didn't know exactly where to place them at the time. So for now, they have a little home down here. First up, we have Crescent City, House of Flame and Shadow. This is the third book that came out in the beginning of this year. A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I've heard really, really good things about it. It's basically a Viking-inspired fantasy, and I've never read anything like that. We have The Sins on Their Bones, This Dark Descent, Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I'm so excited for book 2 to come out. Midnight Strikes, Dreams Lie Beneath, Hotel Magnifique, Midnight at the Houdini, and Nightbane. We're onto our final bookshelf. You guys can see there's literally like nothing on that shelf except stuffed animals. But onto the final bookshelf. This is definitely a good mix of everything. Right here is actually Chris's bookshelf. These are all of his books, and I feel like they look really cute here. We even have a cutie little camera on it. We have a signed baseball, a signed hockey puck. It's the ultimate shelf just for him. Starting at the very, very top, we have a Jane Austen inspired flower vase. I didn't have flowers at the time, and it's just so beautiful. I kind of wanted to put it on display up there. So we have that. We have a Princess Leia Funko from Star Wars. Next to that, we have a Sherlock Holmes inspired mystery game, and then right next to that is just like this porcelain round vase. Starting at the very top, I have a few books by Carrie Maniscalco: Throne of the Fallen, Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, and Kingdom of the Feared. Right next to it, I have this cutie little pink mushroom vase. It's a very fragile piece, and I'm honestly surprised it made it during the move. I thought for sure that was gonna break, but it made it. Then I have 3 classics. We have The Great Gatsby, Pride and Prejudice, and The Phantom of the Opera. And then directly next to that, I have all of my Mickey ears. Then we move on to this bookshelf. These are all basically romances. There's kind of a pink vibe going on towards the end, which I really like. First up, we have All In Full Tilt by Emma Scott. These are special editions I just got from Eternal Embers. Beautiful. If you guys have never heard of them before, they have some stunning special editions, and it's a woman-run brand, and they do a great job. Next to that, we have a annotated special edition of Archer's Voice, Things I Wanted to Say, and A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime, both by Monica Murphy. Then we have Lucky Charm. This is by Anne-Marie Mayer. I have these fun little boxing gloves hanging as well. Those came with Loving Romeo in a PR box, another really, really cool one. Then we have You've Reached Sam, If He Had Been With Me, If Only I Had Told Her, The Way I Used to Be. All of those books are kind of on the emotional side. We'll see if I get there. I'm always a little intimidated by books that I think are going to make me cry. Next up, we have Vicious by L.J. Shen, Say You Swear by Megan Brandy, Night Shift by Annie Crown, Butcher and Blackbird, and Leather and Lark. I've heard really, really good things about those. Charlie Love and Cliches, Lonely for You Only, and Dishonestly Yours, which is a newer book by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Then we're on to one of the prettiest shelves, in my opinion. This holds 3 of my all-time classic books, and they're special editions that I've found at Barnes & Noble, and I am absolutely obsessed with them. If I can find more that kind of match the collection, I definitely want to get some because they are just so stunning in my opinion. First up, we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is such a beautiful edition. I'm obsessed with this so much. Then next to it, we have another little statue pen holder. Honestly, I feel like it pairs perfectly with these books. Then we have Emma by Jane Austen. This is so cute. I love the pink vibes. I love the bows. Next to that, we have another mythology candle, and it's their Oxford Hall candle, kind of like dark academia candle. And then right next to that, we have Little Woman. Can't tell me these aren't the prettiest classic editions you've ever seen. Life and love are very precious when both are in full bloom. Inside of the books also have such beautiful artwork. Kind of wrapping up the rest of the books, this is my last full shelf of books, I guess you could say, because as we go down, this is a photo album, and then I have a ton of my Switch games here. But to wrap up the rest, we have The Paradise Problem, Chain of Thorns. This is actually a cutie like romance puzzle. Twisted Love, this is a signed edition. Charming Like Us, Twisted Secrets, Dark Secession, The Wallflower, Whistleblower, Severed in Vengeance, Girl Abroad, and Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. Then we kind of get into to all of my reading journals and just notebooks. And then I have this fun little Pokemon card binder, and this is where I keep literally all Pokemon cards that are Eevee related. So just to further show my nerdiness to you guys and how much I love Eevee, I literally have been collecting cards of only Eevee. So okay guys, we are quickly coming to the end of my dream library and dream office tour. We finished up touring the bookshelves a few days ago, and now I'm going to take you guys through the rest of my little at-home office. I am so happy with how it turned out. It quite literally is like my dream at-home library and office. Literally what my Pinterest boards were all made of for the past few years. It's so cool and magical just to be able to finally bring it to life and make it real life. So I'm going to quickly take you guys through the rest of my office. For the most part, a lot of this stuff is fairly new. My desk is new, my chair is new, my rug is new. Yeah, let's hop right into it. I do have a few things kind of coming in the mail still, but I wanted to give you guys the office tour now. They're not gonna make that big of a difference. So first off, we're gonna start with my rug in the room. It's actually so cool because it's a Bridgerton inspired rug. It's by the brand Ruggable. This is their Fit for a Queen rug in the color Soft Rose. I think it is absolutely stunning. If you guys have been here since the beginning of my booktube, the beginning of my YouTube actually, I used to talk about Bridgerton all the time on my channel. Big Bridgerton fan over here. Getting this rug was just a must in my opinion, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. At first I was a little nervous that the pink might be too much for the office, like it might be too much pink, but I think it is such a beautiful, soft and subtle type of color. I'm really happy with how it kind of looks in here. Next up, we have my cozy little reading corner, my cozy reading chair. What I'd really love to do in this corner is maybe get a cute little table and a lamp, and then of course decorate the bookshelf behind it. But for the time being, this is kind of where I'm at. I feel like this chair is so popular. Everybody kind of jumped on getting it last holiday season, but I got mine from Target, and it is literally the comfiest beanbag chair I think I've ever owned. And then right on top, I have two cozy blankets. One is from HomeGoods, and then the other one underneath is actually a special edition shadow and bone blanket. I got that from Owl Crate. And then the cutie checkered pillow is also from HomeGoods. Next up, we have the cutest wall ever. I am so happy with how this turned out. The wallpaper obviously is the main character. I am absolutely obsessed with how it turned out. This on Amazon, I think for like $30, and I put it up completely by myself. I am so proud because I think I did a pretty decent job. It was literally my first time ever doing anything like that, so I'm really proud of how it turned out. I just love the look of it. I knew when we moved I wanted to have like a really fun and pretty accent wall in my office, so this is literally everything that I imagined and more. First up in this little corner here, we have my pink book cart. It doesn't have a lot of books on it, as you guys can tell. Down here is kind of just like storage. Middle shelf also just storage, and then up top is just kind of more storage. I have this really pretty stone that I don't know where I want to put it yet, so I just put it here for the time being. This is a love poem book that Chris got me. We have a New York City map picture, and then this is a wedding box, and then this is my desk. This desk I have actually wanted for the longest time, and I'm so happy that I was finally able to get it. So the desk is from IKEA, and the two shelves on each side came separate. These are the Alex drawers, and I am absolutely obsessed with them, obviously because of the storage space. Totally unmatched. I have so much room to organize and put stuff in. And then on top, I can't remember the name of this top. I just love the look of it though. I think it is so pretty. I think it complements the wallpaper really nice. And then I actually got a matching shelf for the top. I think it just looks so nice up there. I put all of my vinyls up there and my cameras. I have Polaroid picture books, my cutie headphones. While here we have a cute little Minnie Mouse card. I just love this card so much, so I hung it up. We have a photo strip from Disney's Boardwalk. I think this is from Chris and I's anniversary. My 100K 4K plaque, obsessed with her. And then right on the other side is another photo strip. This is one of my favorite photo strips we have ever taken together, and it's from such a fun night, so it's literally one of my favorites. And then for the most part, I just have like a bunch of random stuff on my desk at the moment. It's all going to be changing in the next few days because I bought a lot of desk organization stuff. I have a monitor coming in. For my desk chair, this is also from IKEA. It was definitely a little bit of a splurge for me. Usually I just buy like the cheapest chair I can find, but I tried this out when we were at IKEA and it is literally so comfortable, and I needed a good chair to sit in when I'm editing because I sit here for hours and hours on end editing, and I wanted to make sure I had a nice chair. When you sit in it, you can actually adjust the back of it to go up or down, and then you can also lean back in it, which I think is super nice. This whole little desk setup though is literally a dream. I feel like it looks so cluttered right now, but for me it is everything I've ever wanted when it comes to having a desk and a little office area. But that is all for my dream at-home library tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. Like I mentioned, I have a few things coming in the mail over the next few days to kind of add to it and make it a little bit more cozier. I feel like it's almost there. I am so happy with how everything turned out. It took me a solid like 2 weeks to really set everything up, get the wallpaper up, get the desk made and figured out. I feel like every part of this is so me, and that makes me really happy. I loved making this video. I loved making my last video. These are honestly some of my favorite videos to watch. I love seeing how other people set up their bookshelves, what their at-home libraries look like. It's just really cool and fascinating to me, and I feel like it also gives me ideas on how I want to set up my books. I hope this video was everything that you hoped it would be. I'm definitely happy with how everything turned out, and I'm so excited to make future videos in this room. I'm also planning out some newer content that I haven't done in such a long time on my channel, so that's gonna be really fun. And yeah, that is it from me for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.